Hi, I'm Mr. Nazar. Here we are doing our third segment with Mr. Robert Liebendorfer. And we're at Penn State right now. Talk about memorable times that we had in college. But we just happen to remember about one back at home. As I mentioned earlier, Mr. Liebendorfer had a twin sister named Joanne. And Mr. Liebendorfer, tell us about that experience with your twin sister at home.
Well, I was always quite sickly because when I was at birth, at 4 years old, I had pneumonia 12 times.
My goodness.
Died twice, I was told. So I was very sickly. My sister was in great health, quite plump and quite heavy, and she was that way until puberty. And then, of course, she changed. But if she wanted a stick of gum, a piece of candy, or if she knew I had a coin that she wanted, and I wouldn't give it up, she'd wait till my parents were gone, take me, sit on me, and then she would get what she wanted. And once she got what she wanted, she'd get off me. But that was quite a weight to lose.
My goodness. Woo. I'm glad I'm the oldest in my family. My goodness. Okay, let's get back to Penn State. What was some of your most memorable times at Penn State?
One that I remember quite well would be when I would be assigned the creamery, to work at the creamery as a janitor. The boss would come around Friday night and say, I want you at the creamery for the next week or two. Someone is sick, someone's on vacation. And I like to hear that. First thing I do when I'd get there Monday, I would find the supervisor, ask him what cartons of ice cream he had taken scoops out for quality control. And once I learned that, and I once saw him leave the room, I took advantage of the ice cream. And I did the same thing at break time, and before I went home, I would make sure I took some ice cream. It was wonderful.
So, you know, you were just a normal 17, 18-year-old kid at that time.
But I was allowed. I wasn't stealing.
Okay, well, that's very true. Got to have that, you know, okay. Okay, now, so you are a senior in high school, and tell us how you found out about Columbus, Georgia, and it's the school system in Columbus, Georgia.
Well, it was when I was a senior at Penn State. I read a brochure about Columbus, and when I saw that it was in the deep south in Georgia, I said, that's for me. So I sent off for an application, sent it back, received word that I was accepted, and that of course pleased me, where I thought, good, I'll be out of the cold winter, I'll be out of the cold snow, and so I've been enjoying it down here ever since.
You know, do you ever get cold here in Columbus, Georgia?
Yes, the doc tells me because it's my thyroid, because people with thyroid have a tendency to get cold, and so I have a thyroid problem, and he said I'll probably always be cold.
The reason I'm asking that question, and I know many of you folks that lived up north where there's snow and ice. I lived in Kentucky and Indiana, and it was kind of a drier cold over there. But ever since I moved here to Columbus, and it gets cold here, I get colder here than I did up north. I don't know if it's the humidity, but the cold here in Columbus just goes right through me. You know, in Indiana and Kentucky, I could live with it. Okay, so you graduated in 1960. 59, excuse me. You graduated in 59, and you applied for the application. How did they just offer you whatever opening when you were accepted?
I don't recall. I just recall receiving word in a letter from Mr. Bryce Carson that they had looked at my credentials. I'd passed the National Teachers Exam. Back then, teachers had to pass the National Teachers Exam to be accepted as a teacher. Now there is no such exam. So he saw that I passed that, I suppose, and said, I guess he's okay. I imagine he checked some of my references too, but I can't vouch for that.
Okay, okay. So you graduated, what, like May or June of 1959?
Right.
And then you you were not hired into Muskogee County District until a year later.
Right. I taught at Penn State for a year.
Oh, okay, okay. That's what I was trying to find out. What, you know, while you were teaching, did the same rule apply to the single teachers, female teachers? You don't date them but once or 3 times, not over 3?
Nay.
The rules changed then?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to get that clear.
I'd have never dated my wife. Who came to the woman who became my wife.
That's right. Okay, okay, now let's go to Jordan High School. First of all, only here in Columbus did I call a school with the spelling of Jordan, Jordan. Everywhere else is Jordan. Did that bother you by any chance?
Well, when I was assigned Jordan, I came here and I asked people where Jordan was, and they didn't know where it was. I was only about 6 blocks from it when I made my last inquiry, and the guy said, maybe it's Jordan. And so I went up, and sure enough, I discovered Jordan was Jordan.
Jordan. That's very true. Okay. What were your lessons? You started at Jordan High School in 1960. What lessons did you teach at Jordan?
I taught English.
English. And I think you told me where Mrs. Julia Taylor was your mentor. Tell us about her.
She was the head of the department, and of course I'd never taught in high school, except I did my student teaching in high school. So she took me under wing, gave me great guidance, great advice. I followed it. She later became consultant for English in the county, and we were very close friends, very close.
That's good. That's very good. Now, you had to commute somehow from where you live to school for your job. How did you commute at that time?
Well, fortunately, when I was teaching at Jordan High School, I lived across the street with Mr. Sam Williams and his wife. He was principal of Winton Elementary School, so I had no problem just crossing the street to get to Jordan. But bus system was wonderful in Columbus at that time. If I needed to go someplace, I'd get a transfer. I think tokens were about 12 or 13 cents a piece, and then you got your transfer, and I got to go all over Columbus by bus if I needed.
Was, this question is not here, was it Howard bus line at that time?
Howard was one of the bus lines, and generally it went, I think, from downtown to the post.
Really?
And out Baker Village.
So there were more than one bus line in Columbus?
The city bus line, I'll call it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's it. All a lot of us can remember is Howard bus lines. Now, did you ever have any bad feelings with or were you at Jordan High? How was your relation with the Mr. Tolliver? I believe was your boss at that time.
Yes, we had some moments that were not always too pleasant. So we could not see eye to eye on some students. So we agreed to disagree, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, all right. For those of y'all that might remember, Mr. Tolliver was the Jordan High School principal, but he mentioned Mr. Bryson Carson. Mr. Carson later on became the principal of Columbus High School. And I had both of them for summer as teachers when I went to summer school. I'm telling on myself now. Now, how did you find out about Baker High School?
Well, I of course heard Baker from Jordan when I was over at Jordan, but Dr. Kirby was the principal. He was interested in me, and so he asked if I'd be willing to set up a humanities program for the course for Baker High School. Of course, that would mean I'd have to transfer from Jordan to Baker, but he wanted me to do it in a broad field of humanities, not narrow. So I had to go to school, so I went to school for a year, earned fellowship, and then came back in '62 and set up the program, started to set up the humanities program for Muskogee County.
And okay, we're going to stop right here, there again, because of time. We want to give the people home a break. And so we're going to end this third segment right now, but don't go away. There's plenty more to come. So stick around and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.